The killer was a tall, short guy, somewhere between 110 and 250 pounds. One eye brown, one blue, and the third one green.
It's good work, Gallagher. I'll make sure there's something a little extra in your paycheck at the end of the week.
Thanks a lot.
For a modern gaming audience.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as a long-time fan of video gaming, this article from Eurogamer truly disheartened me. Nearly 1 in 5 gamers are LGBT, says new GLAAD study. GLAAD, you know who they are. I'm not going to spell out their initials, but they're the same obnoxious people who, along with Victoria Alonso, over a year and a half ago at one of their, shall we say, ceremonies, decided to get their little grubby hands on an innocent teenage boy in full view of the camera and basically, well, how can I put it in a much more not so subtle way, grooming the kid right before your very eyes. It was disgusting, it was abhorrent, and now GLAAD want to infiltrate the gaming market even further with its blissfully awful report. So let's just get into this article today. Nearly 1 in 5 gamers are members of the LGBT community, and yet their storylines and characters account for less than 2% of all games. That's according to the first ever GLAAD gaming report. The global leader in advocacy for LGBT representation alongside market research company Nielsen. A previous report from Nielsen 3 years ago stated 10% of gamers were LGBT. Now that's up by 17%, an increase of 70%. Notably, players identifying as
LGBT
are usually younger, under 35, which is the impressionable age range, right? Likely due to higher acceptance. Now, what I think about that is people are on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation. They're probably adding those LGBT tags at the end of their usernames because they know they're going to be found and they're going to be added to statistics. Now, in some cases, they might genuinely be that way inclined. But I think it's like chasing a trend. Hey, if I put those 4-letter words after my tag, my gamer tag, I'm going to get noticed. I'm going to get called out for many, many things. However, the report claims that games with LGBT plus characters and storylines account for fewer than 2% of games on the Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo digital libraries. On Steam, they account for under 2.5%. but drops to just 1.7% when adult-only games are excluded. Now, this report goes on to say, and I find it very interesting, we believe that LGBT inclusion benefits both the video game industry and community, said Blair Durkee, Associate Director of Gaming at GLAAD. Of course, they would say that, wouldn't they? As this report shows, the presence of LGBT characters or storylines doesn't meaningfully deter non-LGBT people from buying or playing games. How many times can you use the 4 or 5-letter word starting with L and ending with Q? It is monotonous, it's a boring rhetoric I don't want to hear or see. But what's very interesting, lastly, harassment remains a major issue for set-inclined players. 52% of LGBT players have experienced harassment while playing online, compared to 38% of non-you-know-what. 42% have avoided a game for fear of harassment. Oh, so if you're playing Hogwarts Legacy and you're non-LGBT, you still get harassed by the crazy woke left who want you to stop playing that game because, oh my god, J.K. Rowling actually has a based fact regarding gender. They don't actually explain how GLAAD and Nielsen got together and gathered the data. There is a show on UK television called Family Fortunes. Now, if you're not familiar with it, you've got 2 sets of families who go up against each other by answering a series of questions based on market research. And of course, that's not true because the researchers behind that TV show just probably do a quick scour on Google, gather the data they need for a certain question, and then put it into the final, show to be filmed that very day. So again, I'd like to see proof, receipts, how this information was gathered, how it was relayed to us in this article from Eurogamer. Now look, the Mass Effect trilogy, I've replayed that more times than I've watched Fellowship of the Ring. You can choose between a male or a female version of the lead character known as Shepard. So given that we have a new Mass Effect game coming out from BioWare, who knows when, you can bet they will use Z's and Zers and other ridiculous pronouns as part of the character creation. I'm actually surprised at this stage nobody's actually come out and said they've got a problem with the term male or female Shepard. It's kind of strange to me. Now, I've often said that if I were taken away by an alien spaceship, their planet would be filled by all races and species, but ideologies would not be forced down humans' throats or people's throats, just to broaden that spectrum, rather organically be accepted. You have fundamentally straight white gaming characters such as Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War, Splinter Cell's Sam Fisher, or Uncharted's Nathan Drake. In the eyes of GLAD, I'm sure these characters would be problematic by today's standards, and of course you've got the infected hive minds such as Sweet Baby Inc., to a lesser degree BLM, and of course our favorite BlackRock slogan, ESG, all infiltrating and infecting the entertainment industry. It gets kind of sickly as I even think about that. But just imagine those corporate entities, they'll take those white characters, make them gay, and in the case of Sam Fisher, he would have to explain to his daughter Sarah why his life partner is a fellow gay dad.
I would love for it to be after I'm dead.
It absolutely breeds contempt, doesn't it? And it goes back to something that a friend of mine said a few days ago. Like, you have women trying to steal or infiltrate a man's hobby space. Now you've got people like GLAD who are moaning and complaining about LGBT, the lack of representation in video games. Now you have to remember, in the Western gaming sphere, this is going to be a problem because they know if they make a game that really forces that message down your throat. Because from what I've heard about Baldur's Gate 3, they have all of that in there, but it's up to you to uncover it depending on how you pursue that game throughout its branching paths, which I'm actually all for. That's fine. But if you're not looking for it, it's not going to be beating you in the face with the LGBT stick, is it? But again, Western developers are probably quaking in their boots at this report because they're going to be forced to do something they're not really in agreement with. Case in point, The Last of Us Part 2. Nobody liked the character of Abby Johnson. In fact, she actually dead names a trans character in the game, which outraged the LGBT community. So you either have it or you don't have it, and you either try to appease some people or you don't. Now, at the end of the day, what do I think personally? Why do they feel they have to change the landscape of gaming? In fact, I would even like to throw my 10 cents in and say they're only virtue signaling their causes because none of them have ever picked up a video game. They've probably seen how Trevor treats LGBT people in Grand Theft Auto 5 when Rockstar used to be based and didn't give a shit. Now, obviously, Dan Houser has left that corporation. He's going to form his own games company. But when he used to be in charge of Rockstar Games, the stuff they released was absolutely top tier. So people like GLAD, of course, are going to be outraged how they're portrayed in a video game like GTA 5. But at the end of the day, folks, GLAD don't actually care about whether there's more or less representation of LGBT people in video games. They, again, and I'm going to use the phrase, they're just a bunch of woke mouth breathers who slither out every now and then trying to chase a bit of clout, and then once everything's done and once they've got their way, they slither back in again, and well, there you have it, folks, don't you? ESG is the reason why we have a 10-year-old Poison Ivy and the Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, who is being groomed, shall we say in inverted commas, by Harley Quinn, who later kills Batman.
Strange emotions. Tell me about it. Wasn't expecting you to come in fun size. You really don't know me? Harley and Ivy forever? In 10-story burning letters? Nope.
Yay, bravo, Glad. That's what we want. Positive representation in our video games, which you are slowly trying to destroy, and which is why I am sourcing physical Blu-rays of beloved American sports movies I enjoyed back in the day at the cinema, because I know one day you won't be able to find them anymore, and if you do, you'll probably find that the prices will shoot up exorbitantly. And on that one, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed my video today, are you a gay gamer? Oh, and by the way, that does remind me, when you do type in gay Nathan Drake or gay Marcus Phoenix, you do come up with these absurd and rather amusing fan pics right here. And of course, people wishing that Nathan Drake was absolutely gay. I'm sure that'll please a small minority of folks, but not me, because I love those games. So on that one, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video today, leave a like below, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and if I were you, and if you were me, you should come back for the next video.